So we are reading in these verses Lord Kapila's instructions to his mother about Ashtanga Yoga, and particularly the verses that we are reading now, almost towards the end of the chapter. There are only few more verses left. Kapila Deva has explained the gradual stages of Ashtanga Yoga, and now he is describing the very advanced stage of a yogi. And in the last few verses we discussed, Prabhupada mentioned that this is the stage of an advanced yogi who has attained a very high status of spiritual realization, but he is still living in this world. And such a person is called a Jivan Mukta. He is Mukta, he is liberated from this world, but he is still living in this world. So in today's verse, how such a Jivan Mukta thinks and understands, and what is the status of real knowledge? That's how Prabhupada begins this purport. The status of real knowledge is explained in this verse. So, this verse is talking about Yatha putracha vittacha prithanmarthya pratiyate api atmatvena abhimathad deha purushastatha. So, this is talking about atmatvena abhimathat. Atmatvena, by nature. One has abhimathat. One has attachment, affection, feelings. For whom? Yatha putracha vittacha. Just as one has affection for putra, for one's children, son, daughter, and one's wealth. So, it's very natural, atmatvena. And abhimathat, one has natural affection for putra and vitta, for one's children and wealth. But still, one understands that these putra and vitta are pruthak marthya pratiyate. And one understands these are prithak, separate. They are apart. I may have affection for my children. I may have affection for my wealth, very naturally. But I understand that they are apart from me. They are not me. They are my children. That is my wealth, my bank balance. They are prithak pratiyate. I see that as pruthak. And who sees that? Martyaha, a human being, a mortal person. Just like a mortal person understands, although he has affection for them, atmatvena, by nature, in the same way, yatha, tatha, purushaha, this advanced yogi, deha, he thinks about this body and the various things of the body, the mind and the senses. He considers them as pruthak pratiyate. Purushaha pruthak pratiyate. Just as marthya pratiyate putracha vittacha. That's the understanding. Because of great affection, abhimathat, for family and wealth, putracha vittacha, one accepts a son and some money as his own. And due to affection, atmatvena, abhimathat, for the material body, deha, adeha, one thinks that it is his. But actually one can understand, pratiyate, one can understand that his family and wealth, putracha vittacha, are different from him. Pruthak pratiyate. The liberated soul, Purushaha, can understand that he and his body are not the same. Deha deha prathak pratiyate. So, and Prabhupada has explained that this verse is explaining the status of real knowledge. Actually, one of the nicest things that Srila Prabhupada has taught, not many scholars, Vedic scholars, even big pandits who are experts in Vedic knowledge, have this understanding. This is a very wonderful understanding. And that we learn in Krishna consciousness from very early on in spiritual life. And that is, we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. If you remember reading the small book Beyond Birth and Death, the first chapter is, we are not these bodies. It is such an important concept, understanding, and the way Srila Prabhupada has explained it, we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. Even big Vedanta scholars would have missed that out. That's a very special thing about Srila Prabhupada. And actually, all the ideas, all the concepts, all the different words that Prabhupada has spoken, we can actually find them in some part of the Vedic literature. In other words, that the consciousness that Srila Prabhupada represented as a person, that is the consciousness which is a sum total of all Vedic wisdom Srila Prabhupada was representing. That's the meaning of a guru, that's the meaning of an acharya. Brahmanishtha means he is situated in that Vedic knowledge. He is situated in transcendental knowledge. So, where does this idea that Srila Prabhupada says that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, we are apart from the body, we are a spirit soul. Because we stay in this body, we have developed affection for this. Just like you stay in a house, you will get attached to that house. Sometimes even poor people, they have a very small house, very poor dwelling, they'll be attached to that house also. That's the nature. When we live with something for some time, when we associate with something for some time, we become attached to it. In the same way, all our life we have been living in this body and we feel attached to this body. We feel affection for this body. But we are not the body, we are apart from the body. Where is Prabhupada explaining all this from? Verses like this. Very clearly, these verses are describing Prathak Prathiyate, is apart from. Another verse that talks about this, we are not the body, we are spirit soul, that Prabhupada explained often. Another verse from the Bhagavatam is Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke. Here the Bhagavatam is talking about Atma buddhi. The word buddhi can mean intelligence, but it also has a broader sense, other sense. It refers to, Atma buddhi refers to conception of the self. What are we? We come into this world, we do very many different kinds of activities in this world. Now, what is our sense? What is our conception of ourselves? What are we? That's called Atma Buddhi. And the Bhagavatam is teaching us, Yasyatma Buddhi kunape tridhatuke. This body is a kunape, is a bag of three material elements. Tridhatuke, tridhatu. Prabhupada explains that according to Ayurveda, this body is made of kapha, pitta and vayu. So these are the three dhatu that this body is made of. And if one considers this bag of these three elements to be the self, that is the sense of the self a person has. Actually, he is not this body. Kunape tridhatuke, he is not. But he has that sense of his self. Actually, that is so fundamental to all of modern material existence, isn't it? We think we are the body. We want to give gratification to the body. We want all nice dress, nice housing, nice food to this body. And we want all the honor to come to this body. Because I think I am the body and I should have all these things. So the Atma Buddhi. So these are all the concepts, these are all the ideas that the Vedic literatures are representing. And it is one of the greatest things that Srila Prabhupada did, that he presented this knowledge, that spirit, that idea, those conceptions in the Vedic literature, exactly in English language that we are able to read and understand. So this is not a small thing. And here the Bhagavatam is saying, this understanding that I am not the body, I am apart from the body, prithak, pratiyate, understanding that is the conception of the yogi in the highest stage. That is the realization. He clearly understands, I am not this body. Yata putracha vittacha. Just like my children, my wealth, all of these are prithak pratiyate. They are different from me. And in the same way, deha means body and its various parts, like the senses, the mind, all of that. Purushas tatha. In the same way, the advanced yogi thinks about his body as different from his body. So, this knowledge, this conception, understanding of the Vedic literatures, and not just that, just like Prabhupada often pointed out, what does Bhagavad Gita finally say? What is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita? It is to convert, it is to make somebody surrender to Krishna. It is such a simple thing. And Prabhupada often said, before Prabhupada presented the Gita in the Western world, there were hundreds, dozens and maybe even hundreds of Gita versions in the Western world, but not one person became a devotee. After Prabhupada presented, for the first time, the true message and the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, many people became and are becoming. Actually, this is one of the significant contributions of Srila Prabhupada. Even before Srila Prabhupada went to the West, somebody may say, yes, there were many Swamis and sannyasis and monks had come from India to the Western world. Yes, they had gone before even Srila Prabhupada went. But none of them truly represented the meaning and the intent and the spirit of Vedic wisdom. For the first time, Prabhupada presented in its pure form the Vedic wisdom. And this used to happen, this presentation of Prabhupada, it was so spontaneous and natural for him. I'll read one interesting incident in the life of Srila Prabhupada. This is a devotee who was playing the role of Prabhupada's servant and secretary. Recalling this is happening in 1971 in Australia. One night in Prabhupada's apartment, I woke from a sound sleep about 1:30 a.m. to the ring of Prabhupada's bell. Prabhupada had a practice. He would have a small bell on his table, and if he wanted something, he would ring the bell. And we know Prabhupada at 1:30 a.m., he would be awake, and he was translating the Bhagavatam purports. So, one night, he rang the bell, and the secretary or the servant would be sleeping very close in the next room or nearby. And this devotee, he is recalling that I was woken up. Entering his room, which was dark, except for a reading light on a small podium, Srila Prabhupada was sitting, reading from a large red Bhagavatam. He motioned for me to sit down. His voice cracking and tears forming in his eyes, he began talking to me about the glories of Prahalad Maharaj and the true meaning of being a Vaishnava. He talked about how Prahalad's only desire was for others to be rescued from this world of birth and death. He described the compassion of the Vaishnava for the fallen souls, and seeing how hard he worked to spread Krishna consciousness. This is referring to Prabhupada. And seeing how hard Srila Prabhupada worked to spread Krishna consciousness, I could feel his own heart overflowing with this intense form of Vaishnava love. As Prabhupada spoke, I could only think, why me? I did not deserve such intimacy. If only the world could know Prabhupada's glory. A Mahabhagavata devotee, a Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated soul, whose thoughts day and night focused on how to free the conditioned souls from their bondage, paradukha dukhi. Prabhupada uttered softly while contemplating the incomparable qualities of a true Vaishnava, which he exemplified perfectly. If there is another person loving with these attributes, I have not met him. So, like this, even at the middle of the night at 1:30 a.m., Prabhupada is overflowing with this kind of a spirit which the Vedic literatures are referring to. Finally, that's the message of the Bhagavad Gita, that we must become devotees, we must surrender to Krishna, we must be freed rescued from this tribulations of material existence. And that is the spirit. That is the message. But who captured it prior to Srila Prabhupada and presented it? So, like this, all of the concepts, all of the ideas, all of the thoughts, all of the words of Srila Prabhupada were all from the Vedic wisdom. So, this is the point that the Kapila Deva is describing to his mother. What is the state of consciousness of the yogi who has come to that stage? That he understands, I am not this body. I am apart from the body. And he understands, he experiences, he realizes that. And that is Divya Jnana. Divya Jnana, transcendental knowledge, is the knowledge that awakens us to our true selfhood. And that's why Prabhupada is saying, I am separate from my body. It is a question of understanding, and the proper understanding is called Pratibuddha. Pratibuddha means awakened state. Apratibuddha means sleeping. Like when we are asleep, we don't know what we are. We forget about everything about this world, and we'll be in a dream world, creating new relations and new situations in the dream world, and experiencing it as if that is the real, generating feelings and emotions of the dream world. In the same way, we in this material world, we create identities and relationships and situations and emotions and feelings about this world and identify with the pleasures and pains of this world. But actually this is prathak. I am different from this material, this body and all the things connected with this body. I am prathak, I am apart, I am separate, I am a spirit soul. But we identify because here in another sense we are sleeping and we are dreaming. And that is called apratibuddha. And an advanced yogi is pratibuddha. He is awakened to his true understanding that I am apart from this. This is just another dream world. I am not part of this world. I don't have to identify with this world. That is the state of consciousness that the yogi develops, which is called the pratibuddha. Here, last in the pratibuddha, that word is coming from the previous verse that we read, pratibuddha vastuhu. Now he is awakened to the true, substantial truth and knowledge about who he is. Because everything in the dream is no vastu, it is a shadow. There is no truth to it. In the same way, all of the things connected with this world, connected with this body, it is a dream like. It is not vastu. It is not substance. It is shadow. That's why in a moment we die, and then we get disconnected from everything in this world, and for a few days the people around us will cry. After that, it's business as usual for them also. They also go on with the life goes on. That's the reality. But when we are here, we think that I'm so connected with this body, with this world, with this society. So this is the kind of a feeling that apratibuddha, the conditioned soul's sleeping state generates, and this is the state of consciousness a pratibuddha yogi has. And we also saw in the previous verse that Jivan Mukta, how does he live? Prabhupada said that he is just expending the residual karmas that has come with him. And Prabhupada connected that in the purport like a fan which has been unplugged. The blades are still running for a while, and that blade is running not because of electricity, because it has been unplugged. In the same way, the movements and the activities of a Jivan Mukta are the residual karma. He is not creating any more new karma. And the surprising thing we also talked about was that Prabhupada relates this unplugging of the electric fan to initiation. At the time of initiation, we unplug. So, that brings us to an important question. If this is the advanced stage of a yogi, that he understands I am not this body, I am not connected with this body, and we say that is the preliminary spiritual knowledge. And initiation means that's when you initiated, that's when you began. It gives that sense, and it has that sense. So, what is the meaning of initiation? In another place, Chaitanya Charitamrita describes what is initiation. Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan. sei kale Krishna thare kare atma sama. So here you get from this verse, what is the understanding of Diksha? So Diksha means Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan. That is the true sense of Diksha. At the time of initiation, a devotee performs Atma Samarpan. Diksha kale bhakta kare Atma Samarpan. And what does the Lord do when He sees that a devotee has Atma Samarpan? Sei kale Krishna tare kare Atma Sama. And then the Lord regards him to be as good as him, Atma Sama, meaning he is now on a transcendental plane. So it is Atma Samarpana that is expected by initiation. So sometimes we say we are 5 years initiated, 10 years initiated. Actually, we should see whether we have done Samarpana, Atma Samarpana. That is the true meaning of initiation. And that is why Prabhupada also said Diksha is a vidhana, is a process. Now, where does Prabhupada get this idea, this understanding that Diksha is a vidhana, is a process? It can be completed in a minute, or it cannot be completed in millions of lives. It depends on us. That Atma Samarpana can happen in a minute, in a moment, or it may not happen even after millions of lifetimes. Because if we have not made up our mind, Atma Samarpana is something that is what we do. So Prabhupada explains that Diksha is a vidhana. That idea comes from another verse that Prabhupada often quotes also. Yatha kanchanatam yati kamsyam rasa vidhanataha. Yatha kanchanatam yati, kanchanatam yati attains kanchanatam, the state of gold, kanchana, gold. What attains? Kamsyam, an ordinary metal, a bell metal. Kamsyam kanchanatam yati. Just like a bell metal attains the state of gold. How? Rasa vidhanataha, by a chemical process. So it's a chemical process, rasa vidhanataha. Tatha diksha vidhanena. In the same way, by the diksha vidhanena, by the initiation process, dvijatvam jayate nrunam. That dvijatvam, it is like a second birth. So far we were sleeping, now we were woken up. So it's like a new birth, it's like a new life. And that's why part of the dvijatvam initiation process in the Vedic culture is to give a new name. Namakaranam is one of the aspects of initiation which Srila Prabhupada also introduced, because the new name should now give you that sense that it's a new life for me. And what is that new life? The new life is Atma Samarpan, my life of surrender. And we also discussed how Srila Prabhupada explained what is Atma Samarpan, Atma Nikshepa. Atma Nikshepa means to remember that my thoughts and desires are not independent. What I think, what I desire, I am not independent about that. A devotee always remembers, always depends on Krishna, and he acts and thinks as Krishna desires. These are Prabhupada's words. We should act and think as Krishna desires, not like we want to. This is Atma Samarpan. I will think and act as Krishna wants, as Krishna desires. That is the stage of Atma Samarpan. That is initiation. In another place, Prabhupada writes, at the time of initiation, a devotee gives up all material conception. And that is so giving up of material conception. I am the body, I belong to this family, I belong to this country, and I must work for the gratification of this body. That's what a conditioned soul's all his thinking is. So at the time of initiation, a devotee gives up all material conception. So this is the meaning of Diksha. Diksha kale, bhakta kare, atma samarpan. So that is the state of consciousness an advanced yogi is exhibiting. And so Diksha is actually a vidhana, it is a process, and it is not merely an official ceremony. Another occasion, Prabhupada writes, the official initiation has no meaning unless one has fully surrendered to the Guru. There is no question of initiation. So it is initiation ceremony has its place, because that's also part of the Vedic ceremony, Vedic practice, but that is not everything in itself. Unless we bring out the spirit of Atma Samarpan and giving up all material conceptions, and that is a process. And by determination, the sooner we do, we have completed the process of initiation and attained that stage that the Kapila Deva is talking about, that we can clearly see, we are pratibuddha, we are awakened, we can clearly see that I am not this body, I am not these children, the wealth and the material possessions I have are apart from me. In the same way, this material body is apart from me. I don't have to be driven by, I don't have to be completely controlled by the demands of the body. Prabhupada explains another very interesting thing. Why do we fast on Ekadashi day? Why do we fast on festival days? Prabhupada explains, when we fast, it helps us to understand that we are different from this body. The body we are fasting and the body is demanding, very hungry, and eat food, I want to eat, I'm very tired. It's at that time a spiritualist can introspect. No, it's actually the actions and reactions that's going on in the body. I am apart from the body. I can stand apart from the body. I can resist the demands of the body. It helps us to understand I am different from the body. It helps us to practice our determination, which is very essential for Atma Samarpan and giving up material conceptions. And we see that this is the state of consciousness, this is the state of understanding that a advanced yogi attains. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.